I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down? He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber! Wilder! Let's go, baby! Let's go! I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got dropped, man. Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? What is up, MCR family? Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe, leave that 5-star review on iTunes. And obviously, I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter, joined by Mr. Robbie Hearns. I'll get to him in a second, but it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun show, Rob. I can feel it. I can feel it already. The chat's going. We're already in the mood. It's going to be one of those, man. And it's centered around the AJ Wilder saga, man. Shout out to boxing, man. I've been saying how many shows ago, Rob, that hey, I'm over it. Like, I'm not going to talk about the heavyweights unless there's legitimate news. Like, I'm over it. And here we are back at square one talking about AJ Wilder and it not happening next, but yet still talking about it. But it is probably the biggest fight in boxing to be made, so we have to talk about it. And, of course, a ton of other news and topics to get to. The Spence Garcia pay-per-view this weekend. I mean, you see the thumbnail. You know my thoughts about this fight, but we're going to get into it all of the boxing news, topics, fight previews of the day. And, of course, I'm joined today by the illustrious Mr. Robbie Hearns, the Han Solo to my Luke Skywalker. Obviously, Fugatti is Chewbacca. I mean, that's obvious. Just look at him. He's not here. He's here with us in spirit. It'd be like if he died in Force Awakens and not Han Solo. Wouldn't that be nice? But digressing. Rob, second cousin, twice removed of Eddie Hearn. How's the clan doing? How's the family doing? You know, how are you doing on this fine Hump Day Wednesday?
Yeah, doing good. Family's fine. Thank you very much. If you mean my real family,
yes, the real family,
not my AKA hashtag fake family. Yeah, doing all right. But I don't think you've got it in you to be a Jedi, Matt. You can't give yourself Luke Skywalker status.
Well, first off, it's New Hope. We're in New Hope stage, so I'm still like learning. I haven't gone to Yoda yet, so like relax.
Oh yeah, you are definitely. But I wanted to go to the Targi station to pick up some power converters. That is, yeah. You haven't got the discipline there. The Wusa, the chilled out. You get too angry.
Well, I can go in depth on Star Wars comparisons and really tackle this and where we are at in the trilogy. Let's not do that, okay? Because it's not trending now. Maybe we do that tomorrow on Friday. But anyways, digressing. How you doing?
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm all right. The DAZN offer apparently 2-fight deal, 50 million. Dun dun dun. The dreaded 50 million.
But there's a twist.
Yeah, but no Joshua in the contract apparently, or the
offer,
or the deal, or whatever. So we'll talk about that, I'm sure, at great length. Maybe a few raised voices, or
hopefully not.
Matt stopping to go at the chat or something. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, Spence Garcia, massive stadium to fill. 100,000 possible seats, but they've done, a few tickets and expecting quote marks, big walk up.
Come on, guys. It's normal.
It's normal, man. It's normal.
Yeah, it's normal. Yeah, and just some other news. So, let's get into it. You've obviously got the running order there prepared.
Yeah, we do. Let's get into this Wilder stuff, man.
Set aside an hour for this one.
Oh my God, man, this is gonna be good. The Deontay Wilder offer for the $50 million offer for 2 fights. This was first reported by Keith Idek, either earlier in the week or last week. Rob, because of how many shows we do, and I'll be honest, like I'm not really running off of like a Monday through Friday schedule. I'm just working off like every day, 7-day schedule of boxing. I lose track of time. When was that was yesterday, right? Or was it Monday? Like it was earlier this week.
What?
The Keith Idek article about Adam Wanaki, which had the 2-fight $50 million news in it that was just hidden.
It was either yesterday or the day before yesterday, but we didn't do a show, so we done about it yesterday. We
did talk about this $50 million 2-fight deal yesterday. We did. But that was before this aspect of the deal came out per World Boxing News, that the AJ fight is not one of these 2 fights. And I think that does change the deal in a way. And, I mean, I don't even know where to tackle this to begin with, Rob. Like, I really struggle with trying to figure out, like, how to start this conversation, this debate. Because fundamentally, like, look, the money is not the issue here. Like, let's get that straight out of the way. Let's get that on the table and move it to the side because we don't need to debate that. The money is great. He is going to make $25 million apiece per World Boxing News for 2 fights before AJ. And the AJ fight, again, is not included in this deal or offer. But besides that, for this point in the discussion, the money is great. We don't need to debate that, right, Rob? Like, we're both in agreement here. This is a lot of money. It's arguably the second highest on-paper guarantee offer we've seen thus far. It's bigger than Triple G's money per fight, minus the Canelo fight. Obviously, I think the Canelo fight was around $30 million. It's bigger than, obviously, Tyson Fury's deal. The only one that's really in question is AJ's, because I know it's bigger than his Sky deal, but I don't know what his DAZN money is. That's unknown. So I would assume this now makes Wilder either number 2 or most likely number 3 in terms of payout in the world for boxing. This money, like this deal, like it would put him behind Canelo and AJ. Again, leaving out maybe Mayweather. I would also say that he's above Pacquiao at this point if he was to accept this offer. So that's not part of this debate. We don't need to debate that, he doesn't want to take the money, and blah, blah. Like, that's not what the issue is. Right, Rob? Or I don't want to speak for you.
I mean, look, the money's great. The rumored 20+ million for the Breazeale fight, He was never going to get that over on Showtime. They were never going to be in a position to offer him that kind of money. And I don't think the pay-per-view would have done anything near enough to cover that. So it's money-wise, fantastic, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Rob, the rumored offer from ESPN was around like $12-15 million guaranteed for the first fight. Like it was. Am I wrong about that, or am I pulling that number out of my ass? And I'm just imagining that.
I think it was 12.5 because people were bringing up that's what he could have got for the very first offer for the Joshua fight.
Yeah, okay. So there was a number that was, let's say, less than 20 million. I remember seeing how substantive, whatever the fucking word is, that report is. I don't know. I don't really want to get into that because, like, we know with this report, it's not coming out from DAZN. It's not coming out from Wilder. It's a report from World Boxing News. Whether or not it's 100% factual, I don't care about at this point in time. We're just debating this offer for its face value. So, again, we're both in agreement. This money is great. We can table that and move it to the side. We don't need to talk about the money. So the obvious elephant in the room is the no AJ in this deal. I am of the mindset, I'm trying to make my stance perfectly clear without trying to come at you, Rob, or come at UK fans or DAZN. I'm just going to try and make my opinion and my stance perfectly clear. I think Wilder should not accept this offer. I will go on the record for that. Why? Because that was the same reason why I didn't want him to take the ESPN deal. It wasn't because the money was an issue, even though I thought there was a little bit of a low ball. He should probably ask for more, and they could probably have agreed to that. It was the fact that we're not going to get the Fury fight, the rematch, 3 fights down the line. They wanted 2 tune-ups, at least 1. They were talking about 2 or 3 before a Fury rematch. That's why I didn't like the deal. Same with this deal. I don't like this deal because it does not get us AJ Wilder in an expedited process. We don't need to build up this fight. We don't need to raise the profile of either guy here. Anton DAZN, so let's be honest, it's not really raising the profile of anyone. So let's just make the fight. I get the Breazeale mandatory is there. Why can't this 2-fight offer and maybe a 3rd fight option like we discussed on yesterday's show be a reality? And I really hope that this is just the part of the process. This is the first offer that DAZN gave them. They're going to give them an offer that's more leaning towards their side and utilizes Wilder to their advantage more. I get that. However, I do hope that Wilder's side, his team, Heyman, Finkle, etc., come back with another offer and say, no. We want AJ end of this year or end of summertime, whenever that date is. September, they've talked about. I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe push it back to like November, October. But if I'm Team Wilder, I don't accept a deal with AJ, or I shouldn't say with AJ, with DAZN or ESPN if that AJ and Fury fight are not guaranteed next up after Breazeale. I don't see the reason why, other than pure money, which is that if that's what we care about, then fine. But I want to make the fight. So I think Wilder should not accept this deal for face value. You should come back with a counter offer and say, no, AJ's after Breazeale. And that needs to be written in the contract. Go call Eddie, John Skipper. Go call Eddie. Work that out on your end. Be the mediator, as Eddie has come out and said, hey, we're going to make DAZN, we're going to have DAZN be the mediator. Do that. And I think we can have this deal get done in the next couple months. And it'd be no issue. Or maybe the next month, because I know the May 18th date is really rapidly approaching. But that's my stance about this. I think this deal, monetarily speaking, is great. But that's fundamentally not the issue here. And it's fundamentally not what I think we want as fans or what these fighters want, including AJ, including Wilder. That's sort of my stance on it. Rob?
I know this came up in the chat between myself and you seem to think...
Very quickly, we have breaking news here, Rob. Breaking news. Oh, I cut that off too soon. There you go. Barry Hearn in the chat.
Oh, wow.
So
hey, Uncle Barry.
We know it's official now. And he's your uncle, so I mean, it's happening. He watched the show. It's his nephew.
I sent him the link. He might come on. I don't know.
Saying Deontay Wilder deal with DAZN is 99% done with the check mark. I like that. You know what? I was gonna say I'm gonna make you mod, but I was just joking. I'm never gonna do that. But that was funny. You get a 2 thumbs up by me. Rob, back to your point though.
Take that.
Yeah, that's all you're gonna get.
That's like, I don't know, that's like getting 45% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever. That's good. Take it. Yeah, no, I kind of agree with you that Joshua should be part of the deal. That's how we were kind of led to believe. And I think if this information we're getting about this deal is correct, then yeah, it is a bit like, oh, I thought it was going to be the Breazeale fight and then looking for the Joshua fight. But I would be absolutely amazed if Joshua wasn't part of that discussion. If something wasn't like the DAZN didn't lay out some kind of plan, whether they're thinking this is the biggest fight that can be made, and with the kind of time we are in the year, whether they're looking to make this some big outdoor stadium fight, like as some kind of spectacle, along with it being that they're saying we'll get you a couple of fights, good money.
No, when you say stadium, are you saying UK or US?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it is Wembley, or maybe it isn't. But whether this, because I don't know that it's such a big fight that that they can say. I don't know. We've seen big fights here, and it's in front of 90,000, and we're talking apparently a big fight that's just done over 30,000 tickets. And will it do much more? So will it be in America? I don't know.
That's not a big fight. We know that.
No, I'm saying it's being touted as some kind of
true. I don't think that's fundamentally the reason why that is what they want. I don't think UK is even in the equation for a Wilder AJ fight. But sorry, continue.
And also World Boxing News seems to be Shelly Finkle's go-to place to release stuff and get his opinion or his version of events out there. But he told ESPN, Finkle told her, we did meet but nothing was resolved. And internally, we are going to talk about it, and then we will get back to them. But it went well. So for me, if Joshua wasn't mentioned or these details are true, I think Finkle might have been like, he would have said Joshua is a part of the deal. I don't know where this source, where this source of the details of the contract is actually sort of come from. So I guess we're taking it on face value at the moment. But if Joshua isn't even mentioned in this talk, then
again, the 50 million to fight aspect of this sort of news is not from World Boxing News. They are not the ones to break that. It is Keith Idek. And Rob, I think
it wasn't Joshua though. He didn't say that, did he?
Joshua, why would Joshua be the one breaking this news? He's not a reporter.
No. Listen, I don't think he broke the news of it. Wasn't Joshua?
Oh no, that aspect, yes. But I'm talking about the two fight 50 million. Like that has been reported by Keith Idek. So I believe that part. I 100% believe that is what the offer was. Was a two-fight offer? I believe
part of the sticking point as well with the ESPN is like, we're not signing for 4 fights. 4 fights was a problem as well. Even if it was Fury was the next one, the first one, the third one, or whatever. It was like 4 fights. Shelley said, what was it? We're not giving up our fight. We're not losing our fighter.
I understand that. I understand that all. I'm just because you were talking about World Boxing News, Shelly Finkle sort of go-to outlet, how reputable is all this information. I'm just saying the 50 million two-fight offer, that's been reported by Keith Idek, and Keith Idek is probably one of the top 5 trustworthy journalists in the game. So that aspect I 100% believe. I will say this. I just think it's part of the negotiation. Like I've said this numerous times. I think people get freaked out over these sort of news articles because it's not really breaking news. It's sort of rumor mill. It's not really confirmed information yet. People get riled up really fast. I would say that this news is not alarming. It's upsetting because it means that just the process is longer, and that could make things difficult because, again, that May 18th date is really approaching fast. And
I believe if he signs the DAZN contract, it won't be May 18th. It will be moved. I think that was mentioned. I can't remember where I read it, but they believe May 18th.
I have not read that, but if you read that, I believe you. If that's the case, then okay, then they're not working as much with that timetable as they were previously. Then my point doesn't really. It's not as valid. I was just saying like they're on the clock, so to speak. So.
Yeah.
That was my fundamental point I was getting to. Is like, hey, look, like this is just it's adding to the negotiation process when they have a very narrow window. If that window is now widened, then maybe it's not much of an issue. That's absolutely possible.
Yeah, because I guess if PBC have got this deal with Barclays Center, so if he signs over to DAZN, does the Barclays Center that's gone, right?
No. I wouldn't say so at all.
Okay,
because it's not like the Barclays Center is exclusive to Showtime and Fox. It's to PBC. It's not even exclusive. Like they just have a deal with PBC. I would say I remember looking that up before. I think it was PBC when they go to New York. They are exclusive to the Barclays Center. I believe is how that contract was worded.
So I just wondered if PBC are planning May 18th, whether Wilder ends up being on that card. I guess he was obviously the centerpiece, but do they say, well, we've booked it, Wilder's gone, we'll fill that with somebody else? So whether the May 18th from Brooklyn Barclays Center or whatever is maybe sort of gone in that regard. That was all. They maybe fill it with a different fighter, a different fight.
I don't know. I mean, we can talk about this maybe later on the show about the Showtime schedule coming up because obviously the Tony Harrison, Jamal Charlo fight has been announced. The Jared Hurd fight against J. Rock Williams has been announced. Both of those fights are main events on Fox in the second quarter of the year. I think we can definitely talk about Showtime's schedule coming up maybe later on the show and whether or not they even have a schedule. But digressing from that, back to Wilder, AJ, sort of wrap this with a nice bow if we can. Again, I'll sort of reiterate my opinion, and then we can sort of move on. I think this is not a great offer. I think it's a really good one. The money's great, but the offer in its entirety is not what I would want, and I would assume it's not what Wilder would want. Because, again, I want the best fight ASAP. It doesn't need to be built up. It doesn't need these guys to have raised profiles. AJ's having his breakout U.S. debut against Miller in a couple months. Let's get this Wilder mandatory out of the way, and let's have AJ Wilder end of this year. We can make that happen. John Skipper, Al Heyman, Shelly, Wilder, Eddie, put your egos aside and make the fight. It's the biggest fight in the sport. It is obvious it is the biggest fight in the sport. So just make it happen. It's not that hard in my mind. All of you guys want to make money, and that fight makes money. And also, I will say this. For everyone that, just a little side dig at all the Matchroom fanboys, everyone that said Wilder is not a commodity, ha! That's a good one, guys. Remember when he just got an offer from DAZN for $25 million per fight? That's funny, guys. I just want to make that perfectly clear, Rob, that when we see people in the chat go on about how Wilder isn't a draw, we can now come back and them say, you guys are ridiculous. And also, I will say this. This might be I'm gonna feel icky saying this. Like, yuck. I feel nasty already thinking, having these thoughts in my head, Rob. We were, 2017 was the Wilder AJ breakdown and negotiation, right? It was that year? It wasn't last year. It was the year before.
Yeah, probably.
Sure. Just say that. It was 2 years ago. It's going on 2 years. That was a $15 million flat fee for the AJ fight. Now he's making $25 million, or he's being offered $25 million for Dominic fucking Breazeale. That Tyson Fury fight did wonders for Deontay Wilder. Did wonders for Tyson Fury too. Like, we have to say that fight was sort of even though it did a not a mediocre, but did like a decent buy rate. Nothing great, nothing special, nothing bad, but nothing great. Just sort of a run-of-the-mill good buy rate on pay-per-view. It obviously made their stocks rise tremendously. That just seems obvious, but just wanted to sort of point that out.
No, I get you, but
that has nothing to do with this. That has nothing to do with necessarily like the AJ fight, who's ducking who. I'm just saying, like, hey, it's obvious that 2 years now down the line, somebody's profile did get raised. It just wasn't a way we never thought was going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to obviously take into account DAZN were nowhere to be seen at that point. We're only 6 months into DAZN, who are now looking to build subscriber bases and trying to grab. Again, it sort of goes along with your point, but they're wanting to grab the biggest stars in the sport. So that also goes along with what you're saying. But I'm just saying, at the time, the 15 million.
Sorry, man. The chat already replied, man. And I haven't had like one rant at the chat so far, Rob. Give me one, okay? Matthew DeSouza in the chat saying, Matt, Wilder is not a commodity on his own. Otherwise, he'd do 300,000 pay-per-view buys regular. That's still pretty good. So Wilder without Fury only does 25,000 buys less. I don't understand how that's a dig. Secondly, you're saying AJ and Fury have given Wilder his value. They've all given each other value. That's just how boxing and prize fighting works. Secondly, you do realize your argument is that, hey, Wilder can't have a pay-per-view where he is against some bum and it do above 300,000 buys in the U.S. Can Fury do that? Can AJ do that? No. No one in the heavyweight division can do that. So, like, that point is so fucking stupid and has so little relevance to the argument of, is Wilder a commodity? Is he a draw? He is. He's getting offered $25 fucking million. That's above Triple G. That's above Tyson Fury. Man, you guys are tripping. I can't believe that, Rob. I'm sorry. You need to check your people, Rob. They be wild in the chat saying some shit like that. The guy just got the third biggest offer in boxing right now, and you guys are saying he's not a draw? Damn. That's crazy, guys. You guys are crazy.
I don't need to police them. They're fine. They're doing, it's just their opinions.
It's shit opinions.
Oh, okay.
Hey, not all opinions are equal, man. Saying Wilder's not a commodity in 2019 is stupid. Like, that is pure stupidity. You were looking at all the data and saying, nope, fake news. I bet you believe the earth is flat too, Matthew. God. Anyways, let's move on. You know,
isn't it?
Stop, Rob. Yo, why do you do that to me?
No.
Oh, sorry. Rapid thoughts. Your sort of rapid thoughts about AJ Wilder and this obviously deal from DAZN.
Yeah, I would just be astonished and amazed if Joshua wasn't mentioned in this meeting at all. If they got there and said, "Yeah, 2-fight deal, 50 million," and they were like, "Oh yes, please, that sounds good." Yeah, Breazeale, and then I think the other names mentioned were like Whyte, Klitschko, and Usyk. That's what World Boxing News kind of went with, or something like that. So if they didn't just pull their chairs out from behind them, get up and walk out at that point, like, wait, no, I thought Joshua was going to be part of this. So I think in some way Joshua has been. I think I just think there's like a plan there, or like you say, this is a starting point of something further. I don't know. I think whether Joshua's like the carrot that they're trying to, keep Wilder on DAZN and what, who knows? But I just don't believe that Joshua was in no way brought up in these meetings. And Eddie Hearn, he sat down with Coogan today, instantly asked about Wilder, and he was like, "No comment. I'm not making any comment on it. I think if I talk, I'm going to ruin it." And he kept trying to press him, and he said, "Look, I just don't want to spoil anything. I don't want to comment on it and make them angry in any way or say something that pisses one of them off. I'm just going to let John Skipper do his thing." He said, "Look, he's been a great guy in TV, making deals. He knows what he's doing. He's much smarter than I am. I'm just going to stay out of it." And he said, "So no comment, no comment, no comment." And then he went, "But I will say this." And they had a chuckle, like Eddie saying no comment. He cannot not comment. But he said, "I believe in DAZN's passion for making the biggest fights out there." And he said, "And let's just say, let's see what happens come October, November, December regarding super fights." So what that means, if that even means Wilder, or if that even means Joshua, who knows? But I think, and Skipper, I watched a long interview with Skipper, and he is very much one of those guys that will not say much until it's done.
Yeah, he's a long time TV network executive. Those guys, well, it's like the Shelly when he said like, "Oh, it went well," like that is great ambiguous nothingness. Like that is,
yes, yeah.
Like there's nothing in that. There's no detail. You're not, showing your hand. John Skipper's like that. He's going to say, "Oh, it went good. It was a good meeting," and move on. And also to your point, like, "Oh, they didn't get up and walk out." Of course, they're not going to do that. I mean, they're getting offered $25 million for Breazeale. They would be stupid just to get up and walk away. I don't think that's the issue. Again, it's all part of the negotiation. It's like I said 2 years ago. That's all part of the business of boxing, and we're just in it to get abused and
see who needed to sign. Who needed to sign to Bob Arum to get marination? No one. We're still going to get marination.
We're still going to get fucking marination. Goddamn. But hopefully we don't. I mean, I still think Wilder's team can't come back and say, "Hey, look, we don't want a Klitschko, Whyte, Usyk before AJ. Let's give us AJ." Like that's where all the money is going to be made for this deal, is in that fight. And in the international distribution deals DAZN can make, they will make so much money off that fight. So I think it's weird to sort of put it off next year. On top of that, talking about DAZN as sort of like a brand and like as a money-making platform and company, I think it would be highly beneficial to have that fight this year in their first full year, fiscal year, of sort of existence, of sort of operations running in the U.S. This is bigger than Canelo Triple G, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
like I think
more fights. If you imagine if Triple G wins and we get number 4, I don't know. I think if people are almost at the point where we've seen this, we've seen this now. We've seen it. It's still a big fight, but people are like kind of know what they're going to get. We could potentially see 4 fights, 48 rounds of kind of the same stuff, but who knows? But yeah, this is bigger. I think Joshua Wilder is definitely bigger. Heavyweights, things like that. But I don't know. I think
imagine
we
the
maybe
tour.
see this next year.
Imagine the media tour. Oh, I would love it. You're probably right, Rob. I mean, we're probably going to end up where we don't get the fights we want this year.
And it's kind of on your point of DAZN, like it looked good on
their investors and everything, yeah,
and their first full year. But what's next year? So if they can say, look, we've had Canelo sign, we've had Golovkin sign, we're potentially going to get Canelo Triple G 3 in September. We're doing this, we're doing that. This is all good. 2019, big thumbs up on that. Look what's coming 2020.
I understand your point.
Like another great year ahead.
No, I understand your point. My argument would be that, look, you're a new company in a very crowded market. You need to make your presence known. And a Canelo-Jacobs fight does help, but you got Jacobs as the other side. So it doesn't really do it for you. Canelo Triple G, when it does happen, if it does happen this year, that will definitely pull some numbers for DAZN. It 100% will. But AJ Wilder is the white whale out there. It is Moby Dick. Okay, it is the biggest whale. It's the biggest fight you can land as a network promoter in boxing right now. And I think if you are, again, a new company in a crowded market, that's the fight to make your presence known. More than Canelo Triple G, it's AJ Wilder. That will help you against ESPN Plus. That will help you against the Showtimes of the world. That will help you compete with your competitors far more than any other matchup they can make. And let's be honest, Rob, you are of the mindset, and most people that listen to the show are of the mindset that AJ wins their first fight. So you don't think the rematch, does just as good, if not better numbers? And if AJ wins, that rematch is going to be on DAZN probably again. So I think regardless, 2020 is going to be a good year for DAZN if they start this year, or not start this year, if they have a just all-out fire year from beginning to end. I think they don't stop. Like the snowball going downhill effect is in place. I think if you sort of put that off and sort of, keep some eggs in your basket, and wait for that moment, you might get passed up. You might lose in this crowded market space. And I think it's, again, sort of you have to hit while the iron's hot. You just have to. And right now, this fight is hot. It makes sense. I 100% believe if my fantasy is correct, we get Wilder Breazeale May, June of this year. Obviously, we have the AJ Miller fight, and they both win. Let's say both fights are in the New York area, and then the winners fight each other in September, October in New York City. It is massive. It will do incredible numbers for DAZN, and I think you can't pass that up. But anyways, digressing. Any more points on Wilder, AJ, DAZN offer, $50 million, 2 fights. AJ allegedly not in that offer. Any last final points about it, Rob? You ready to talk about some Spence Garcia? Whoa.
Yeah. I just think DAZN are very quiet on it. Eddie Hearn is worryingly quiet on it. I've never seen him so almost like
he's so scared he's gonna mess it up.
Yeah, it's like he's gonna let out one too much. Like I don't want to comment on it, but I'm worried. Shirley Winkle's not going to take. He's going to and then he said Shirley Winkle again. He's fucked it. That's the final straw, and walk away. But yeah, the fact that Eddie's like keeping his lid on it as well. I don't know. I just think there's more to this than we know, and I don't know. We'll wait and see. Part of me still thinks Wilder's kind of loyalty to Al and Showtime might prevail in some way. I don't know why. I just hope the people around him are trying to do the best for him rather than, I don't know, the best for Al or something. I don't know. It's just a certain feeling I get that we still might not get round to it at some point, but fingers crossed.
Come on, Rob. Be optimistic. And also, for people saying like Dr. Evil, it's $50 million again.
Yeah.
I don't know. You're the type of people to think the moon landing was fake, that 9/11 was an inside job, that Sandy Hook was a conspiracy. You're those type of people. If it's like, or the fact that, hey, this offer is $50 million is now somehow fishy just because that whole $50 million offer from 2 years ago happened.
What if this DAZN $50 million offer is actually being funded by ESPN?
I see what you did there. I like that. I do like that.
Right. I helped on the deal. We wanted to put the fight on.
Can you imagine if that would? And you know what?
That would be the best troll. If Bob said that.
You know, see, the funny part is you might see a variation of that. Because look, they got the ESPN offer. Last point about this, but they got the ESPN offer, which was noticeably less than this rumored report. I could see definitely Bob coming out and saying, "Hey, look, man, I helped get the biggest fight made in boxing. They took my offer and took it to DAZN and got a better one. It's because of me." Bob Arum is that conceited and that much of like a narcissist. He can absolutely do that. But digressing, let's get to the big fight of the weekend. Rob, you excited? You excited?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Stop. Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia. Fox pay-per-view. ITV 4, I think, or 3. 4.
Mm-hmm.
Free over there in the UK. Look, we might have some new listeners, so I'll try not to downplay this fight too much and actually try to like discuss, like break it down like it's a legit fight. Errol Spence.
Good job you didn't tell him how you felt there, Matt.
Right. Hey, I try. Errol Spence does literally everything Mikey Garcia can do. Like everything that Mikey Garcia is great at, like range management, really clean fundamentals, great jab. Spence has that. He does. He's a fundamental boxer, 100% fundamental. You can't teach textbook inside boxing better than what Errol Spence can teach you. That's just obvious. Has a great jab, especially out of a southpaw position. On top of that, he is 2 weight classes bigger. He is a monstrous puncher within his own weight class. I fundamentally don't understand how people are picking Mikey Garcia in this fight. Other than, he's just going to outbox Spence. He's not a tremendously greater boxer than Spence. If he is better, it's marginal at most, in my opinion. And when you add in the weight difference, the power difference, it is Triple G, Kelbrook all over again. It is Canelo, Amir Khan all over again. It is Lomachenko, Rigondeaux all over again. The one thing it's not entirely is Mayweather-Marquez, only because Mayweather wasn't knocking out people at welterweight. If he was, it would be Mayweather-Marquez as well, because Mayweather styled on Juan Manuel Marquez, who was a champion at lightweight at the time when they fought. So, no, if this was a Fox main event or a Showtime main event, I would not criticize it as much. But you put a $75 price tag on this event. And on top of that, look, you don't even really beef up the card like with any sexy fights. David Benavidez versus J. Leon Love? Really? Really? Luis Nery versus McJoe Arroyo? That'll be a fun fight, but I'll be honest, that does nothing for me in today's age, in 2019. If that was 2016, I'm excited for that one. It's 2019, man. That's not really it. Chris Arreola versus, Rob, let me know if you heard this name before. Jean-Pierre Augustin. Have you heard of him? He's undefeated. But yeah, some guy. Charles Martin versus Gregory Corbin. Not James Corbin from the UK, the politician. Nope. Gregory. Good old Greg.
Fuck that shit. Fuck boxing. Fuck boxing.
Yep. I feel, hey, Charles Martin, man, you are the god for a reason. And this card just isn't it in any sense of the word.
This has got like 50 fights on it.
Oh, so many fights on it. Oh, my God. Look.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 confirmed, and you got Marcellus Wilder pending approval.
look, I'm trying to think of like what I would do if Mikey was to win. I'll come on this show and do X. Look, I won't make those bets because A, I'm too scared. Secondly, because hey, I mean, crazier shit has happened. I will say this though: if Mikey comes out here and styles on and puts on that transcendental performance those Mikey fans have been thinking is going to happen, I will come on this show and vehemently apologize to Mike Garcia, all of his fans, and all of you, the listeners. I will, and I mean, Rob, you know me. I rarely apologize. And on top of that, like, vehemently, I never do that. So that's probably the best you guys are going to get. But
I want groveling.
I can try. I can definitely, like, you won't see it because of the camera, but like, I'll get on my knees and grovel, pause. But like,
maybe don't.
Maybe don't do that? Okay. Digressing. Spence Garcia. Spence knocks him out within 6 rounds. I don't care about this fight at all. I hate that it's pay-per-view. And I really hope, and I know this is like harsh, but like I'm not buying this. We're not doing a live fight chat for this. We're not doing content for it post-fight. We're not doing that out of principle. This fight should not be pay-per-view. We should not be forced as the consumer to pay for this. Just shouldn't be happening. Sorry. No offense, Spence. No offense, Mikey. Great dudes. I've interviewed you guys numerous times. You're awesome people. This is a shit fight. And both of you guys are better than this. Both of you. So, yeah, that's my thoughts about Spence Garcia. Rob, I know you have less of a harsh one because it's free over there. I'll be honest. Like, again, if this was free over here, I would not care as much. But your thoughts on the fight itself, the pay-per-view card, or should I say just the card itself over there, all that fun shit.
Well, you mentioned obviously the weight differences, the two divisions. Mike Coppinger has just recently tweeted that Errol Spence expects he'll weigh around 160 pounds on fight night. So he's going to be a middleweight.
Quickly, just want to add this sort of information to it. Per Lance Pugmire, 30,000 tickets have been sold for this event in a 100,000-plus seat arena. That's all I have to say. I have no in-depth take about that. I feel like the numbers are pretty obvious. Rob?
I legitimately left that pause there because that's going to be the atmosphere. That was good. Let's see what we did there.
Why didn't they just put this in like
look, apparently there's going to be a big walk-up. I don't know how big that walk-up's going to be. I guess because earlier he tweeted it was 25,000 tickets, and now it's crossed over to 30. So have they done 5,000 tickets today? I don't know. Or were they over 25,000? So what were they, 27,900? Or so we don't quite know. But yeah, back to Spence says he expects to be weighing around basically a middleweight, 160 pounds on fight night. And Mikey said he'll probably be at his walk around weight of 150 pounds. So not only is he going up 2 weight divisions, he's only going to gain another 3 pounds, while Errol weighs in at 147 and goes up another 2 weight divisions. Holy shit. I'm not going to go down Sergio Mora's opinion when he was speaking to Chris Mannix and said he believes in greatness. He believes in this. He even said the words, "I believe in magic."
You know what? I was about to really shit on Sergio Mora there, and I won't. He had a good career. He had a decent career. But, fam, man, you've been a beast out of your whole career. You've been Rocky. Of course you're rooting for the underdog. I said I wasn't going to shit on him, but I kind of did. Sorry.
Yeah. So
shit happens.
But yeah, I just can't see. I can see Mikey sticking it out and toughing it out for mid to late rounds even. But I think the telling blows will come from Spence, and it'll be to like accumulation. And at some point, I think we see Mikey not being able to sort of hang with it anymore. But I don't know. Yeah, if I'm not sure if I was expected to pay £75 for this. Well, I know for a fact I wouldn't be paying for it. So, I mean, good luck to them. I hope it's some kind of success. But
I hope the knockout's entertaining. I'll be honest, and I hope we really start we stop with this whole guys moving up 2 weight classes for these big super fights. Stop. We don't need this anymore. We've had so many cases in recent memory where they all went bad. Not a single one went towards the guy moving up 2 weight classes. That's not indicative of anything, guys. Come on.
Just science. Yeah, in some kind of sick way. It's almost like people could look at it and go, fuck, Mikey, pound for pound, great fighter. He couldn't do it. Fuck that. I ain't moving up to, you know what I mean? It almost wants to be made an example of in a way to make other fighters go, yeah, if Mikey can, fuck that. I ain't doing it. Do you know what I mean? But I obviously not wishing any harm on anybody.
But let's be honest, Rob. Kell Brook, who was a welterweight champion, who was massive at the time, him getting his eye socket busted in, didn't do that. Amir Khan looking like he died, that didn't do it. Guillermo Rigondeaux getting thoroughly embarrassed. Probably the biggest embarrassment of the year was that fight for a fighter, for performance. We still got Mikey, man. He's still out there thinking he can do it, man. God bless him.
Look, Rigo punched a guy 2 divisions above him in the elbow and break his hand. So he couldn't carry on. He just quit in his stall. So there's another reason. Even when you punch someone 2 divisions higher, it hurts your hand. So yeah, look. And like I say, the fucking card. I mean, no wonder these guys are rumored to be making 10 million each. Because what the fuck are you paying these other guys? Not a lot, if anything. Chris Arreola, yeah. There's names, look, but
none of them are good matchups, except for maybe the Lewis Neary McJoe Arroyo fight. But again, that one is. It's a little bit past its expiration date for that matchup, in my opinion. Not a bad fight. It's going to be a fun fight. But it's not one to make me go, oh, I hate the main event. Oh, but this fight on the undercard, I'm paying $75. It's not that undercard matchup for me. It's just not that. For example, was it Mayweather Canelo? And let's say it wasn't that main event. Let's say it was a shitty Mayweather fight. But the co-main was Danny Garcia, Lucas Matisse, right? If there was that on this card, I would pay for it. I would. But there's not that fight on this card. There's not a single 50-50 matchup in this entire event. That is a problem, especially when you're adding a $75 tab on top of it. I will say this, since we're talking about pay-per-view and it being pay-per-view, they have Fox, when I say they have done a fantastic job of pushing this card. I have not really seen a marketing campaign for a pay-per-view that I deem such shit ever. When you see a big major marketing campaign for a fight, usually the fight makes sense, right, Rob? You can sort of get okay, that's why that one got all the nice promos. That's why that one's getting all the nice TV spots for commercials. But this one got that treatment. So I am very curious as to what the buy rate is. Because for perspective here, everyone out there listening, the UFC, when it was on Fox, none of those pay-per-views were ever produced by Fox. They were always 100% produced and distributed by the UFC. So Fox, with this deal, actually is putting production dollars into these events. That is why we see this difference in a marketing campaign. I am curious as to what that effect could be, especially for a fight that, in my opinion, doesn't really hit the marks for big pay-per-view fight. It just doesn't do that for me.
I've got 2 points.
Okay, go.
One, I never want to click on that Errol Spence, Mikey Garcia, PBC, Fox link with some fucking Australian.
Oh my God, that was so bad.
Screaming all over it. What the fuck was that?
Whoever,
if that's some of the marketing dollars, then Jesus Christ, that is.
I mean, the promos have actually been really good on TV. But that social media little post they made, that was horrendous. That was.
What was that?
I don't know what they thought that was.
So I read the comments and people were like, what the fuck? And all that usual stuff. And then one guy was like, who is this? Who is that guy singing? Others were like singing. Really short, and then someone put, "Oh, that's some Australian dude apparently," and he went, "Oh, I've got to check this out. Have you got a link?" And I'm like, "Is this what? Someone's buying the pay-per-view off the back of this?" Then it worked, I guess. Fuck. But I think you need to reconsider, Matt, paying for this, because at super middleweight, making his debut against a guy who is 1-0 as well.
Well, not as well, just 1-0.
Well, not as well, but he's just made his debut. Burley Brooks versus Randy Mast. If that doesn't make you buy it,
oh my god, those are great names.
Brooks, Randy Mast. Oh shit,
those are some great names.
I hope we get that on ITV4. I really hope we.
You know, Gray Johnson on BoxRec Gray on Twitter, when he does the random, like, here's this random person on BoxRec's name. I have no idea who he is, but he's on our website, and it's, I don't know, like Fence Post McGee, like that's literally the person's name, and it's like 0-30, and it's like, why does this exist? Somebody made that webpage.
Yeah.
Oh God. Anyways, let's get to this DAZN card. Sporting Icons, I do see you in the chat. Let me quickly get to this DAZN card, then we'll go to you and get your thoughts on this, Deontay Wilder news. I assume you want to talk about it. Tevin Farmer versus Jonah Carroll. A fight that I think is going to be pretty one-sided. I think Tevin Farmer is going to outbox him pretty dominantly. Like, Jonah Carroll, he's a fun fighter, but not a lot of, not a lot of depth to the game, I'll say.
It's just come forward, let's have a fucking scrap kind of guy.
Very one-dimensional. Also, he doesn't really have power, so that's, I think, a big kryptonite to his style, is that if you want to be the come-forward brawler, it helps to have power, and Jonah Carroll really doesn't have that. So Tevin Farmer should...
I was going to say, he's kind of like, if he's going to get a win, it's going to be like death by accumulation kind of thing.
Yeah. So Tevin Farmer should win a clear decision. I'm thinking 9-3, 8-4, something around that range. Katie Taylor versus Rose Vellante. I believe this is for one of the belts. Or I forget which one it is for.
It's for...
Well, I know Katie Taylor is a unified champion, so I know she has 2 of these belts heading into it. I want to say Rose is the IBF champion. I could be wrong about that, but it really doesn't fundamentally matter. I like the fight. 2 undefeated female fighters. I don't know a lot about Rose Vellante, so I don't have a real in-depth breakdown of it. I do apologize. Sorry, Nija, out there listening. But Katie Taylor should win because she's fucking awesome. Rosado versus Silitsky. The last fight we're going to talk about on this card, even though we do have Hank Lundy, Luke Campbell, Denier Lusanov also on this card. We're just not going to break down those individual fights. Shout out to those prospects. And Hank Lundy being the all-time veteran that he is. But Rosado-Silitsky, a fight that has been talked about for the Andrade, sort of the winner of this fight fighting Demetrius Andrade later this year. I'm not too mad about that. I'm not too happy about that. I do like this matchup, though. I think it's a good sort of, a veteran versus a perennial top 15 sort of guy. It's a very even matchup in my mind. I think Silitsky should win this one because he's just a little bit fresher than Rosado. Rosado has been quite unimpressive, in my opinion, lately. He just has fought lesser fighters, and that has helped. But, Rob, your thoughts on this DAZN card from top to bottom?
Yeah, I think it's obviously designed around sort of Philly, St. Patrick's Day weekend. So, I think Eddie Hearn said this is probably one of the best selling events that they've done over in the States. I guess Philly's synonymous with boxing and a big sort of fight town. Said something like, this is the first... Tevin Farmer's the first champion to defend in Philadelphia for like 16 years or something. I think it was Hopkins. So bringing a bout back to his hometown and fighting, he's going to get some support there. But yeah, I think Tevin Farmer should box his way to quite a clear victory in this one. Under a little bit of pressure from John O'Carroll coming forward, but I just think he's a little bit too basic and not enough sort of dimensions to his game. Like I say, I think he just wants to get into a scrap. Katie Taylor and, like you say, Rose Valente, they're coming together, and in the mind that Katie Taylor wins this, she will be fighting for the to unify the division against Persoon on the Joshua card. So we'll wait and see on that one. But from what I've vaguely remember, I think Valente is quite a heavy hitter, but I think she'll be slower than Taylor. Taylor will be, very flashy in her combinations and her work rate. And I'll say this is probably going to be her toughest opponent, but I still think Katie Taylor comes through it. Rosado Selecki, I think, could be a good fight. Like you say, Gabe Rosado, I think off the back, was it a draw with Arias?
Yes.
And Selecki, I thought he's put on a kind of a good showing against Jacobs. I think he made Jacobs look a little bit, I didn't think it showed Jacobs in his best light, and that's obviously down to Selecki. So we'll see on that. And then, like you say, going forward, that's in mind for Demetrius Andrade. Lundy and Sparrow, they've been going back and forth like crazy on this one. Obviously, Lundy's been there and done it kind of thing. He's a bit of a veteran, and Sparrow's coming through. But they've been today at the press conference. They were back and forth while each other were at the microphone and stuff like that. Campbell's just having a tick-over fight. A lot of pressure. Eddie was saying about talking to the WBC, saying, is it right that Mikey Garcia can just hang on to that WBC belt when he's gone up 2 divisions? Is he going to come back down? Can you not, make him the emeritus champion if you need to be? But I don't think it's quite fair that he gets to hang on to that belt. But he expects Luke Campbell to fight for the WBC lightweight title in the summer. You loosen off. Hopefully he's improving. I think he's taken to the pro game pretty slowly. Despite being, a standout amateur, but I think he has slowly started to settle into the pro game, and I expect to see a good showing from him. John Joe Nevin, good ticket seller out there, obviously Irish guy, but living in Philly and that, so he's got sort of he's apparently sold tickets very well out there. And Raymond Ford making his debut. He looks like to be one of Eddie's sort of youngsters that they're investing well in. As part of the DAZN thing, investing in the future. So we'll see how he goes. He's fighting a guy that's 3-10, so not quite the faith in him as maybe they did with who was the guy just recently? He was made his debut last week, but he was in there with sort of like a 5-1 or an 8-1 or something like that. So maybe they just want him to look super good in front of a crowd and get a bit of buzz and hype going behind him. But yeah, a decent enough card, I think. We're getting it on Sky, obviously, but I don't know what point of the card we'll pick it up in. But yeah, good enough card.
Good enough card, especially it's a DAZN Friday card. I think it's not even a Saturday card. So like I told you before, like the last show, if it's a Friday night show, a Tuesday night, Wednesday night show, my expectations and standards of that event are significantly lowered. Because I know it's just not the big event. The budget's not in that event. I understand that. And plus, I'll be honest, I'm excited to see Daenerys Lisanov again. I've always been excited about that prospect. The guy to beat Josh Kelly in the amateurs. Yeah, I said it, UK fans. I said it, even though I'm a gigantic Josh Kelly mark. Anyways, good card overall. Not a bad one against. It's not $75. If it was $75, my opinion would be drastically different about this. Last fight I will briefly mention on this weekend, and then we'll go to Sporting Icons and get his opinion about this Wilder rumored DAZN offer. Koji Tanaka versus Ryuichi Taguchi is this weekend. It is not shown in the UK. In the US, you will have to find a stream. You will have to find a YouTube sort of video of it, in a sense. But I mean, Koji Tanaka at 12-0, he is by far, I mean, he's not Inoue level, like prodigy phenom status, but Tanaka is right behind that. He's a guy that arguably should be in the pound for pound top 10 that nobody's talking about yet. at only 12-0. His fight against Sho Kimura last year was my personal fight of the year. And even though Taguchi is coming off the loss against Hiki Butler, it's a long layoff as well. I'm not really a fan of that. Taguchi is still a elite level opponent, and it's not the worst matchup. This would be like Errol Spence fighting Keith Thurman, maybe more like Danny Garcia, off the Keith Thurman loss, right? It would sort of be like that. And while I'm not thrilled by it, it's still that's a really good fight for the division. That's what this is. That's all I have to really say about this fight, because I think Tanaka's going to win by far. Rob, any thoughts about this hardcore fight, or do you not really care? It's not on your radar.
No, I know Tanaka. I think I saw his last fight, and he looked very impressive. But you mentioned Inoue, obviously labeled the monster. Just quickly, I forgot to say that Madrimov that Eddie Hearn signed. Eddie in his interview today said, like, I think Kugan said, that Madrimov, holy shit, like, that knockout, wow, the big brutal knockout on the DAZN card. Eddie was like, if you want a clue into what this kid, when he's 22 years old, he said, he has told me I will fight anyone at 154 pounds. Just bring me anyone. I don't care who it is. He said, so we expect to maybe move this kid pretty fast. But he said he's 22. I didn't realize he was that young, to be honest, but holy shit. He's something
special.
I think it was something to watch. So just wanted to people missed it.
He won the vacant WBO belt in his 5th professional fight. And his next fight after that, he fought Vic Saludar. That is highly, highly impressive. He's fought Moises Fuentes already. He's fought a ton of guys. I mean, the Angel Acosta fight was massive at that time. I mean, Tito Acosta, even though he's in the low weight class that nobody talks about him, he is one of the heaviest hitters in the sport. I mean, I think all of his wins are by knockout, I believe. Fantastic resume at already 12-0. But let's go to Sporting Icons. Oh, sorry, Rob, yes?
Apparently, Michael Benson, I'm waiting on who he said it, but Deontay Wilder and his promotion, Bomb Squad Promotions, have scheduled a press conference in New York next Tuesday to announce his WBC heavyweight title defense against Dominic Breazeale.
I like that information for a lot of reasons. You know why? Because it's ambiguous enough that, like, this DAZN news is, it's still
timing.
There. The timing is very peculiar there.
Do you think Eddie Hearn
and also
with Bomb Squad Promotions?
That's funny. I will say this though. I've mentioned this before with AJ, right? Like, you're going to start seeing these real top level stars start their own promotional companies, a la Haymaker Promotions, a la Vander Holt, like a la any big time boxer. They make their own promotional company. That's what they do. It's a revenue source.
Just get more of the pie.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame it, but like that's just I'm not saying like it's like bad or anything, but just people listening that might insinuate that's what I was saying. But Wilder, this was smart. Lou DiBella, maybe he's still involved in some way, but it's Bronze Bomb or what?
Bomb Squad Promotions.
Bomb Squad Promotions. AJ's probably gonna really start unrolling AJ Boxing Promotions a lot more. I know he's already sort of done it. But I expect more of that going forward, just because they're in that rarefied air where they can sort of use their leverage, their power in the industry as promoters now. And again, I love that news because it's ambiguous enough that this DAZN news is still 100% in the air. If that was, DiBella Entertainment has a press conference and Showtime, it's like, oh wait, never mind. I mean, this is right. It would be like, okay, this deal's not happening. But that information is perfectly ambiguous. But let's get to Sporting Icons, because there really isn't enough to delve into that anymore, in my opinion, unless you have anything else to say, Rob.
No, crack on.
Okay. Let's go to Mr. Icons.
What's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Not bad, thank you very much. Not bad. What's this Bomb Squad Promotions? It seems that every American has a promotional company that they do fuck all with. Big Baby Promotions, Errol Spence, whatever the hell promotions. Man Down, yes. Do these guys just have promotions just so they can say, well, I promote myself, but I'm not actually going to do anything with it?
I would say, like most boxers that start a promotional company while they're active, it's not a priority. but once they retire, it becomes a priority. Like look at Roy Jones. He had Roy Jones promotions for a very long time. It was never a priority for him. He retired, and now he has a UFC Fight Pass deal, and has a ton of fights scheduled in this year. Evander Holyfield. It took him a while to get his going, but once he started going and he's retired, that started taking flight. Golden Boy Promotions, that was an active promotional company when Oscar was active. I think it took off a lot more when he retired. So I would say that's more of the issue. It's not that, hey, all these fighters have promotional companies. They do everywhere. Like I said, David Haye has his own promotional company. It's a matter of prioritization. You know, when fighters retire, it becomes a higher priority.
Do you think maybe Wilder's deal with DAZN will involve Bomb Squad Promotions?
Yes.
As in, he's going to have his own stable of fighters, maybe like what Triple G is looking for.
I believe even in the reporting, it sort of alluded to that. I don't have it up in front of me, but I believe either the World Boxing News article itself alluded to that, or one of the subsequent articles from other, reputable websites that referenced that article and talked about the news and the rumors. They referenced, Bronze Bomber or Bomb Squad Promotions and them getting dates. That would not be surprising.
Eddie was mentioning tonight in the interview as well, saying about how he was involved with the Triple G deal. He's not obviously signed Triple G to Matchroom, but he said Matchroom will be working alongside Triple G Promotions. And then he also said about Lions Only Promotions, by the way, just that came up. So whether the Charlos are looking at it, I don't know. But as we know, one of them's been announced already, right? Or looks like it's official for Fox or whatever.
Yes, yes, one of them is, yes, Jamel.
Maybe it's the remaining belt holder.
Well, the one that really needs to go to the zone. Jamel does need to go to the zone. It's really Jamal. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't know. Jesse Vargas, Humberto Soto.
Well, like I told you, Rob, like, hey, Breazeale Wilder or Wilder Breazeale, that could be 100% a PBC, a Bomb Squad Promotions fight and still be the zone. Like, those things are not mutually exclusive at all.
Yeah. But what do you make of the details of what we've heard about this deal? Icons?
Mr. Icons?
Mr. Icons.
What I heard today was it 50 million for two fights?
Yes.
Yeah.
$50 million. So that's Dominic Breazeale and another. Mm-hmm. And then should he be successful, 2 fights back-to-back with AJ 2020.
Yeah, that's probably what they're looking at. Right, that's what the offer spells out, yeah.
If he turns this down, Matt, I know he's your friend, but he's the biggest bullshit motherfucker. 50 million for Dominic Breazeale. And when I say that, to be honest, I think if it's Dominic Breazeale and you can choose whoever, I'm sure he'd probably take it. But if it's Dominic Breazeale and then he's fighting Dillian Whyte, he's like, no, I'm staying on Fox.
The 3 names they mentioned was Wladimir Klitschko, which I thought was interesting. I thought that was a fascinating name that was mentioned. Dillian Whyte was obviously one, and Alexander Usyk.
It was funny because Bad Left Hook said, World Boxing News mentioned opponents, Dillian Whyte, Wladimir Klitschko, and then in brackets, who is actually retired.
That was funny.
Yeah, it's like, as far as we know, is retired.
Icons, I'll ask you sort of a counter question to your point. Do you think Wilder is 100% within his right to come back with a counter offer and say, look, I love the money, but I want AJ as the second fight?
Of course. I mean, to be honest, I thought that's what they were going to do anyway. To be honest, I thought that it was going to be Breazeale, 15 million, maybe 20. You could get it up to, then 2 fights back to back with AJ. But by the sounds of it, if these reports are true, DAZN want to build that fight from being a super fight to a mega fight. So they're going to promote the living shit out of both these fighters. And I'm pretty sure that Wilder's probably okay with that. And I think Josh was probably going to be okay with that, as long as they know 2020, this is our year. But I don't know. Yeah. I think 50 million. I mean, if I was Wilder, I'd get jumping on that, because this money isn't going to be there forever. Because it's going to get to a point where DAZN say, you know what, we've got enough fighters now. And then they're going to start to just do, very high wages, but nobody's going to be getting 50 million for 2 fights. Nobody is. because eventually they're going to have to start wanting to make some of this money back. So if he's going to jump on board, now's the time. And it's the same with Charlo's, especially Jamal. When you're looking at the middleweight division, if you're a middleweight and you've got any kind of ambition, you need to be moving over to DAZN, surely.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, with Fox, I heard today that Sean Porter versus Ugas did 1.6 million viewers on Fox.
Yep. The peak was 2.1 million, but the average for the telecast was 1.6.
Well, those kind of numbers, if I'm a PBC fighter, I'd be like, no, I'm fighting on Fox. Fuck Showtime. I ain't going on there. And I'm pretty sure Al Heyman probably go, you know what, if Showtime leave, no problem. I'm sure Fox will probably invest a bit more money if they're getting that kind of figures for, no disrespect to Sean Porter and Ugas, but not exactly a fight people were talking about.
No, I largely agree that like PBC doesn't need Showtime as much as Showtime for their boxing content, at least, not as like a network overall, but in terms of a sporting property, a sporting network, they sort of need PBC. They need that roster to fill out their boxing schedule, their content that they provide for their subscribers. If PBC is not involved, that does hurt Showtime, but does it hurt PBC? No, because I think your point's largely right. PBC can go with their roster and get a big check from any network.
And especially with ITV as well. I mean, ITV in the UK, far more viewers than Sky Sports and BT Sport combined. Would you say, Rob?
As a platform, but I don't know about ITV4 at 4 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, ITV has got a huge. It's probably the biggest TV channel. I think BBC. I think that's what we pay a TV license for, is because of BBC, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as long as the 4 o'clock in the morning fights are free, come on, Spence Garcia, come on. I think that I know Eddie Hearn and Bob Arum are talking a lot about Showtime potentially going to be closing the doors following HBO, and I was thinking, damn, Al Heyman and that must be pretty worried. But looking at Sean Porter and Ugas for a standard fight, to be honest, got to be looking at that going, yeah, so if they leave, they'll leave, no problem.
Yep, I definitely think Heyman's not too concerned with it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure that there's probably, I mean, I don't know how many stations you guys have over there in America, but I'm sure it's a good few hundred. So there's going to be some other networks out there that's going to be quite willing to jump into bed with PBC anyway.
Or like you said, Fox just doubles their investment, whatever it may be.
And they've got an app as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I will say this: Showtime has an app too. Like there's not too much difference with the Showtime Anytime app or the Fox Sports Go. Those two apps basically work the same.
So you missed half the fight. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, God, that pisses me off, man. They should really fix that. Showtime's better though about that. They don't have it where it's as structured with the telecast time. What was I going to say? Because you threw me off.
What's the price with Showtime? What's your subscription price?
I get a two-for deal. Like I get Showtime and HBO for like $19.99. That's how much. Okay. So it's like it comes out to like $9.99 a piece basically. I know individually it's more like $13-14 a month. But it's not too much. It's around the DAZN price.
Okay, and then what about Fox? Is that a subscription?
No, that's free to air.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So I suppose if Showtime do go, you can just get DAZN and ESPN Plus for the same price, or thereabouts. Largely,
I do remember the point I wanted to bring up. We do know that Showtime did allegedly double or triple their budget, their boxing budget last year. They extended their deal for 3 years with PBC. I am curious what happens now, because we've only had Broner Pacquiao on Showtime pay-per-view. We've had Laura Castano and Gervonta Davis, Hugo Ruiz. And I will say this, that obviously it was supposed to be Gervonta Davis, Abner Mares. That probably would have done better viewership. But digressing from that point, really their schedule has been non-existent. It's just been hush-hush. And Robbie brought this up a lot. I've always been of the mindset, look, they're going to offset fighters. So fighters that fight on Fox, are they going to fight on Showtime? Flip-flop. I sort of thought that would be the easy sort of formula you do as a matchmaker for PBC. But obviously that's not the case. Speaking of the Jamel Charlo, Tony Harrison fight that's now announced for Fox, or at least it's been rumored for Fox. Jarrett Hurd, J-Rock, I think that is confirmed for Fox in May. So the fighters that I thought were kind of going to jump off Fox and go to Showtime and start main eventing for the second quarter of this year aren't. They're staying on Fox. What does PBC do? Now, they have enough names where, like, Leo Santa Cruz could end up on Showtime. He's going to do decent numbers. Gary Russell could end up on Showtime. He can do decent numbers. Like, they have, I mean, obviously all the welterweights that just fought or now fighting, because, you know, we have Spence up this week. I think Danny is up in, 2 or 3 weeks? All the welterweights would have fought on Fox. Do they now jump to Showtime? Do we see a Keith Thurman, Manny Pacquiao Showtime pay-per-view? And I know that's not regular Showtime, and that's still an issue, but I could see this not being a issue and not being a problem in a few months when they do announce fights. But right now, it is an issue. Right now, they don't have a schedule, and they just triple their budget. That fundamentally makes no sense to me.
They do this every year. Beginning of the year, they announce like a whole bucket load of fights. Then they just plateau for like 6 months, and then they end with like a bit of a high. They always do that. But my thing is that, all right, if you're a fighter and you're looking at the kind of viewing figures that Showtime do, and you're looking at the kind of viewing figures Fox would do, and you're offered Showtime, you're probably going to go, I don't know, can I be on Fox, please? Because that's going to build up your brand to the wider audience, surely, because more people are viewing in. But I mean, maybe they could end up using Fox for some of the known fighters, if you like, but some of the prospects, maybe use Showtime for that.
Yeah, my only issue with that is, again, you triple the budget. So now you have a lot more money, and yet you're getting less content, less quality content on that network. I would assume Showtime isn't happy about that. Like, you can't, like, as a company, if you triple your budget and then your supplier gave you, 1/4, 1/5 the amount of resources, you're going to be upset at your supplier in whatever business. So I imagine that Showtime is looking at Heyman like, look, man, like, when are you going to give us some fights? You gave us Laura Castano. Thanks, guys. Okay, can you give us something good here? You gave Fox all the welterweights. Those are the big money makers. You didn't give us any of them in the first quarter. When are we going to get something? I would assume that conversation has to be happening around this time.
Stephen Espinoza was on Chris Mannix' podcast about 3 episodes ago, like 3 weeks ago, and he sort of gave the impression that Errol Spence will fight on Showtime in his next fight. When that is, I don't know. I guess sort of in the fall, maybe, or sort of obviously later in the year. But so I kind of got the feeling that maybe some of the guys that have been on Fox will come over to Showtime for certain fights. But I don't know. Depending on how well this Fox pay-per-view goes, maybe Spence is a Showtime pay-per-view next time round. But
quite possible.
Who knows? But
is this Fox's first pay-per-view then?
It's the first one they are producing. So, yes.
That would be interesting to see the numbers in, wouldn't it? And compare it to Pacquiao Broner, compare it to Wilder Fury.
Mm-hmm.
And if this fight, which I know it's got like a lot of interest, but people can't get past the fact that Mikey Garcia is way too small. Much like I don't know anybody who's picking Khan to beat Canelo. And I think this has the same kind of feel to it. But for me, I'm okay with this fight. But I'll be interested to see for, is it $75, $80, whatever it is in America, what the kind of numbers would be for Fox. Do Fox release the numbers? I don't know.
No, they're definitely going to. They won't release it, but somebody's going to find these numbers out, just like with the Showtime ones. The people like Dave Meltzer, Dan Rayfield, Lance Pugmire, those guys have pay-per-view distributor sources. So that's how we are really able to get a lot of these information out when it comes to pay-per-view numbers in the U.S. And I don't know why you guys in the UK don't have like that equivalent as a journalist over there. That I'm surprised like a Gareth Davies isn't that guy that like has that source in the pay-per-view distributors with Sky, with whoever, and the cable providers over there, and he knows, hey, this is the number I'm getting. I'm kind of surprised it doesn't happen more over there, but we will hear a number. And it will be probably not the first number that's 100% accurate. Maybe the second number is more accurate, obviously, usually speaking. But we will hear a number, and it won't be good.
Keith Idek usually pretty good on numbers, figure-wise as well.
Yeah, but he's more of a TV guy from what I've seen. Like he's like Nielsen Media. Like he knows he's really quick to the draw with that.
He's done reports on pay-per-view numbers as well. I think he's maybe, like you say, got sort of similar connections. I guess all of these guys have got some little mole in the networks there.
Like they know somebody from DirecTV, from Dish. They know somebody from all these distributors. They have their sources. They all collect this information, all the figures they're hearing, and they add up a estimated tally, and that's sort of what we run with. And maybe the company releases some numbers, but even then, you don't know if it's 100% factual. Because I mean, the Mayweather-McGregor one, Dana White went out there on a radio show like the next week and was like, we did 6.7 million pay-per-view buys. And everyone that's a journalist came out and was like, no, you guys didn't. And he was like, well, if you count international pay-per-views, we did. So, I mean, how much can you really trust what the official number, release number is? I think is actually even less factual than what one of ours in the media find. I usually trust one of these proper journalists with their craft, like a Keith Idek when it comes to this $50 million 2-fight offer for Wilder. I trust it. Why? It's Keith Idek.
What's the number of tickets sold for Spence Garcia in the AT&T Stadium?
Right now, 30,000.
30,000 out of 100,000.
Yes.
30,000 is a very, very good attendance, but it's going to look like it's an empty place, isn't it? For 100, makes you wonder why they chose that particular stadium.
I think maybe they're hoping they get a big walk up, they get a big sort of last few days push in ticket sales,
70,000?
And they might hit maybe 50,000, right? And the way the camera is going to be angled, you're not going to see the top row at all. It's going to be carted off, curtained off.
What's the ticket prices like? Have you had a check?
They're cheap. They're cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, you can basically go get a ticket for like $20-$30.
Oh hell yeah!
Rob, yes.
Very quick boxing scene article: Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yard is ordered by the WBO.
Oh, is Anthony Yard pulling out then?
That's Frank Warren, just aged another 50 years.
Yeah.
Come on, guys. God. The WBO is not really going to force that fight. Let's be honest.
That's that line in the camp turning into a pussy in the camp. Tell you, he's going to run for the hills. I mean, I like Anthony Yard, and I do hope he goes on to be world champion. But the way that his career is going, fighting bum after bum after bum, then world title shot. Come on now. There's only one thing that's going to happen, and that's him face down, ass up.
Icons, any last thoughts? We do have to run. We have a lot more topics to get to and callers.
Yeah, what was he saying about Wilder? We started talking about that, didn't we? And then we got sidetracked. Yeah, 50 million to fight Dominic Breazeale and whoever else it may be, maybe a Kaunaki. If Shelly Finkle talks him out of this, somebody needs to give that ball bag with skin a damn slap. Really, 50 million.
Thank you for the call, Sporting Icons. Definitely appreciate it. Obviously, if you listen to the show, you probably know Sporting Icons channel. It's in our featured channel section on our YouTube main page. So go to our YouTube main page, featured channels right there on the side. You will see Sporting Icons channel. Go subscribe if you have not yet. Rob, let's quickly run through these topics and get to good old Gary in Dallas, who needs his 20 minutes of a phone call, right? And Unrivaled Box Talking News. If you're still in the chat, I am live on. I'm on Skype. Skype is open. So if it's still not showing that I am active on Skype, whatever that term is, call in, whatever it may be. I'll call you right back. I'll see it, and I'll get you on. I know we didn't get you on yesterday. We'll remedy that today if you are still listening to the show. But Dillian Whyte, getting back to the news, Dillian Whyte versus Alexander Povetkin is sort of in the works, and also Michael Hunter actually in the works for Povetkin as well. It's either going to be Whyte or Michael Hunter versus Alexander Povetkin. Rob, since it's only quick thoughts, I will say this. I don't want to see Hunter versus Povetkin, and I really don't care too much about Whyte Povetkin as well, but it's a better fight, so I don't care as much. Your thoughts on Dillian Whyte Povetkin potentially in the second quarter of this year.
Yeah, we've kind of gone full circle, but instead of it happening April 20th, we're going to get it in July sometime. This was already talked about. This was going to be with the Chisora Parker underneath that, and Alan Brown, and even Michael Hunter was rumored, maybe Takam, all on the same card. But obviously, the WBC then ordered the Breazeale Whyte Eliminator / interim title. And kind of fucked everything up, because then Fury done his thing, and then they ordered Breazeale to jump over to Wilder. So kind of thrown everything off. And obviously Dillian Whyte sat there when he thought he might have had a date by now, but I think something news will come soon on that. Apparently we're getting the Usyk news next week. They're going to announce that card. But yeah, I don't know. I like the fight. I think it's decent enough in between, while Dillian Whyte, obviously waiting for that title shot. I know he was offered one, but didn't want it, or didn't like the deal. So Povetkin on the resume. If it's good enough for Eddie Hearn going around telling every single media member he's fought Klitschko, he's for this guy, he's for Povetkin, he's for this. Well, that works for Dillian Whyte as well then. So there's a good name on the resume, and it's a notable name that he hasn't taken a sudden dip after doing all this great work getting him into this position.
I agree. Speaking of dipping, Billy Joe Saunders. You like that segue? You like it, right? That was good, huh? You like that?
I don't know what we're dipping at.
He's dipping in everything. Pause. God, that sounded a lot worse when it came out. Oh my God. Anyways, splitting with Dominic Ingle and may retain Ben Davison. Rob, since you are the resident UK guy and you are a lot more well-versed on UK trainers and the relationships and dynamics than I am, on top of that, you care more than me. It's Billy Joe Saunders. Like, I could care two shits about who he trains with. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't really give me any less sleep or trouble. I don't really struggle with this topic. Could care less. Billy Joe Saunders is going to do Billy Joe Saunders-like things. This is one of them, getting rid of a great trainer. But your thoughts, Rob, on this split from Ingle and May retaining Ben Davison?
Some might look at it and go, "Oh, Cal Brooks left Ingle. No, Saunders has left Ingle. Maybe there's something there." But this doesn't.
Yo, I didn't even catch that, Rob. I like that.
Oh, now you're interested.
I am actually. Conspiracies are fun, man.
But to piss all over my own conspiracy, I'm not surprised by this. I think Saunders, and Fury are real close buddies. He's done work in the past with Ben Davison. They seem to be a good fit. If he's in a good place and happy, because I think a motivated Saunders, disciplined Saunders is sort of problems for people in divisions. But when you've got someone who's not that in love with the sport and just going through the motions and this, that, and the other, that's when we see the Billy Joe Saunders where his career stuttered and kind of fucked up. But a motivated Saunders, when we saw like the Lemieux performance, yeah, we'll have more of that guy, no problem. I was really pleased with that performance. But if he's happy with being around Tyson Fury and Ben Davison, then why not? I'm not upset for Dominic Ingle or anything like that. This is boxing. Plenty of Jesse Vargas is on like his 6th fucking trainer right now, I think.
Speaking of Jesse Vargas, great segue there, Rob. Look at you. Did you know it was coming up? Did you know?
No, not clear.
I think you did. But anyways, Vargas versus Humberto Soda is set at 150 pounds. Now, before I really rip into this fight, and I have to keep it quick because we are on a timer, this fight is not a main event. It's going to be on the Doheny Roman card. Who else is on that? Yes. At the Forum in was April 27th, I think is the date.
Something like that, yeah.
26. So it is card filler. So it's not a main event. I'm not going to criticize it too much because of that. But this fight is awful. This fight is utter garbage in every possible way. I cannot think of a more pointless matchup for Jesse Vargas in 2019 than Soto. I honestly can't. Add in the catch weight. I could really give two shits about this fight. I think it's a waste of time for Soto. It's not Soto. It's a waste of time for Vargas. Soto, I mean, good for him. He gets the fight, but I could care less. It's a waste of time for us, the fans, the consumers. They could have definitely fast-tracked a Munguia-Vargas fight. If Vargas wanted a step-up fight on DAZN before, not on DAZN, at sort of that weight class, weight range before Munguia, he could have. And it could have been a better opponent than this. Even, God, pull like a Willie Nelson out of the trash bin from PBC. Go get that guy. Like, go get somebody that has been semi-relevant. Because Soto has never been relevant. But yeah,
until he beat Brandon Rios.
I wish you were in studio, Rob, and I had like a white glove, like the old timey white glove, and I would just slap you in the face with it. Like, no. or like the Batman like meme with Robin, like, no, this is not acceptable. Yeah, that's all I have to say about this trash bin of a fight. Fuck it, I don't care about it. Vargas, what are you doing? It's a waste of your time. Rob, any thoughts about this news?
Not one at all.
That's what I thought.
That's all right. Whatever. Like you say, it's not like this is headlining fucking Mulvane, Texas, Kansas, or anything like that.
That is true. And last bit of news of the day, then we'll get to callers 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue or Skype, Mixed Combat Radio, for the international call-in line. But Golden Boy DAZN to debut a new monthly series on March 21st, which will be probably their, vehicles for the Ray Vargases of the world, so to speak, even though Ray Vargas just lost, I believe. But that's sort of what this sort of monthly thing is going to be. And plus, we knew they were going to give monthly cards to DAZN. It was like 10 events, 12 events per year was the deal. Kind of came out to one a month. Not really surprising. So nothing too shocking, nothing too groundbreaking, but just sort of more of a confirmation that Golden Boy will put on monthly shows on DAZN. Maybe that does include the Canelo fight or not include, I don't know. But digressing, Rob, any thoughts about that, or do you want to move on to callers?
No, obviously we're not getting it. So, enjoy. More boxing content for boxing heads. But enjoy. Let me know how it is.
I probably won't. Let's be honest. Gary in Dallas.
And you said oversaturation is a bad thing, and now we're getting Jesse Vargas for Soto.
I'm wrong, man. You're right. I was totally wrong.
Yeah, take it back, Matt.
And a couple of other omissions. No one ever walked on the moon, for sure. That was a propaganda stunt to make people ignore the war. Number 2, Greg Corbin is a heavyweight from Dallas.
No one cares.
He's a pretty good heavyweight. Okay. And when you
hang on, let me check the heavyweight rankings for Dallas heavyweights
or U.S. heavyweights. Where is he ranking the U.S. heavyweights? Is he behind Oliver McCall?
Let me check Dallas ones because Oliver McCall might still be top of that.
Yeah, Oliver McCall beat Lennox Lewis, Rob. Where he knocked him out
30 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to make that fight now.
They have a point. Matt, they have a point system. Like, he still has those points.
No, I know how BoxRec works. I know, we understand, Gary.
Okay.
It's still funny.
Yeah, for the purposes of humor, Gary. God's sake, play along.
Oh my God.
Wow. Okay.
Rob's in the mood. Rob's in the mood, man. It's okay, Gary.
I didn't season my food enough.
Gary, he's been defending DAZN all day with this bullshit deal, man. So
stop telling lies. It was only all evening.
When you were naming all those fighters that started promotional companies, you forgot one. Oscar De La Hoya used to have a promotional company. It was called Golden Boy. Don't know what happened to it, but he used to have a bunch of fighters.
I wish I had like the drum track, like the
Doesn't it promote one of your favorite little fighters?
Yeah, that's the best part, Gary.
He does. That's right. That is true. That is true. I take that back. He's doing a heck of a job, Oscar.
Best promoter ever.
That was $1 billion investment. You know, when the Patriots drafted Tom Brady in the 6th round, Tom Brady went up to Rob Kraft and said, "I'm Tom Brady, 6th-round draft pick. I'm the best decision you've ever made." Right? 6th-round draft pick. Ended up being that was true. That's what Virgil Ortiz is going to say to Oscar De La Hoya. He's going to make Canelo look like a bum. Virgil Ortiz is the future of boxing.
Hot take right there, Gary.
Gary drinking during the day again.
Nah, it's the evening. The evening over there. It's 5 o'clock. It's past 5 o'clock over there.
Yeah, but how many has he had before?
5:30.
How many has he had before?
There was something else that you missed. All right, let's get to the deal, the DAZN deal for Wilder.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to fight Breazeale, and then he's going to fight Usyk. And Usyk's going to school him, and that's going to make Usyk a star so that Eddie can make Usyk versus Wilder. Usyk versus Joshua.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Right, because if they didn't have, do you think Wilder versus Usyk has any appeal to it, to the casual fan? I mean, more than Wilder versus anybody else. Do you think Usyk adds to that fight in any way?
No.
Okay. How about you, Rob?
Wilder Usyk? No, I don't think that holds any appeal for many over there.
This is forecasting, Rob. If Usyk beats Wilder, does that make him a star over in the UK?
Oh, he'd be a god. He'd be knighted. He'd be a sir. He would be a sir. Sir Alexander Usyk.
I'm being serious. Would that bolster? Would that make a Usyk Joshua fight a mega fight, or would they just not care and say Wilder was never that good? You know
Every
what I'm saying? Like,
fight's a mega fight.
Come on, be serious once, Rob. He's trying to ask you a serious question here. Oh my God.
No, that would be. I think it'd be a big fight. Obviously, we've had him on pay-per-view over here against Bellew. It done good numbers. So we're highly aware of Usyk over here, being the fantastic boxing nation that we are.
The thing that was interesting about that fight is both those guys, Usyk and Joshua, both lost to Clemente Russo in the Olympics. Different Olympics, but they both lost to the same guy.
Sorry, it took me a while.
I was waiting for that, Matt.
What you said, Joshua lost in the Olympics then? I was like, no.
Yeah, Joshua lost to Clemente Russo. They gave him the gold medal anyway because it was in his home country. So they went ahead and gave him the gold anyway. But yeah, you remember that he got beat.
He's saying that they robbed the homie. That's what they're saying. That's what he's saying. Like AJ won in a very controversial decision, which is actually kind of true.
Yeah, and by controversial, you mean everyone thought he lost.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that shit happens.
Yeah.
Like when he should have been the world amateur champion, but he was robbed.
Yep.
Same thing.
Yep. And let's be honest, it's the amateurs. I mean, Gary. Thought you were.
Gary, I'm sorry I rebutted so hard on you.
I was getting a little upset about saying the Joshua talk. There was something else. What topic have I missed?
Well, obviously the Spence Garcia fight. I mean, is in your hometown.
Oh yeah, are you one of the 30,000 guys?
Yeah, great question, Rob. Are you one of the 30,000?
I am. I walked out and I got my ticket today. I'm actually 2 of the 30,000. Yeah.
2. Are you in Fugatti going?
Or are you just fat?
You just fat? That's so rude. Oh my God. Yo, Gary. Hold on, guys. Hold on. Gary. I give you full permission to punch Rob in the face if you ever see him. I want you to know that. I have your back. I will back you up in that fight.
I have seen Americans that need 2 seats.
Oh, I see what you did. I said I got 2 seats. And
Like it's an airplane. Like it's an airplane.
Yeah, it took a second.
Asshole.
Gary, explain to me, what do you think? Apparently, this is going to do a big walk up. What do you estimate as Texans walking up to the stadium and going in to boost this 30,000 currently?
The way you said that.
Canelo and Beefy did a little over 50,000, and so did Pacquiao and Margarito. I can't see this doing anywhere near that. So I say maybe we get closer to 40, somewhere between 35 and 40, like 37, 38. I can't see it being any more than that.
Thanks for clarifying.
Like, if you talk to people, half the people don't know that fight's happening. Like, it's not like when Pacquiao and Canelo fought it.
Well, yeah, because those guys aren't Pacquiao.
Not those guys, right?
Yeah, they're. Gary. What else? We had obviously the Wilder deal. I don't think you really talked about that too much. I could be wrong. Dillian Whyte, Povetkin, Jesse Vargas versus Soto, the Tevin Farmer card. What else do you want to address?
Yeah, I want to spend the remainder of my call talking about Jesse Vargas for Soto. That's what I want to talk about.
Awesome.
No,
I'm down.
Let's break that fight down.
Yep.
And at a catchweight too, because they couldn't just move Jesse up to 54. They had to have him fight in the middle first. That makes it even better. What card did you say that was on?
The Tevin Farmer card. No, sorry. The Vargas fight, that's on the Sirkat Sorungsvi Estrada card, the Daniel Roman, TJ Doheny card. It's on that event.
Okay. All right, so it's okay.
There's enough good shit on top of it that I don't care too much.
Right. Eddie said he's going to offer Tank Davis $5 million on Friday after the Tevin Farmer fight. Do you take that if you're Tank? And if he loses, is it is it worth $5 million worth taking an L at this point in his early career? Because he's still only 24.
I don't know if he should take it. I would lean yes. I mean, it's the fight to make. That's the funny part. Like, it is the obvious fight to make. I just don't know if like Javante or Mayweather Promotions is interested in it. Like, they just don't seem like they care.
I wouldn't.
Gary, I do apologize. We have to go. You're like running a marathon out there with your kid. The wind's whizzing by your phone. I do apologize, Gary, but we're gonna move on. What, Rob?
Nothing.
What? I mean, come on. I know I'm an audio snob, but that was a lot of background noise. And we have Unrivaled Box Talking News. And I get.
It's working?
What, Skype? Well, it still wasn't working. Like, his call didn't even come in. Like, that was weird. I don't know what. Maybe I just need to update Skype. That could be an issue. But anyways, going out to the Skype machine. And if you want to call in, message me on Skype, because apparently it's the phone calls are not showing up. And I will get you on the line. But going out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News out in Ireland. What's up?
How you doing, man?
No. Whoa, there's some background noise.
We don't hear it. We don't hear it.
Maybe it'll be fixed. All right, can you hear me? Okay, yeah?
Yeah, you sound fine.
Okay, I just heard some echo. Anyway, so 50 million, 2 fights. As a boxing fan, it's kind of a little bit sad because it means that we have to wait longer for Undisputed. If I'm Wilder, I take the money and run. $25 million to fight Dominic Breazeale. The other day I was going crazy about the idea of that fight even being for $15 million. Like, as you said, it's a tune-up for a mandatory, but $25 million. You may take it. You're making more for fighting Dominic Breazeale than you did on pay-per-view against Tyson Fury. It's crazy. I don't even know what to make of that. And then, who are the 3 names? Klitschko, Dillian Whyte, and Usyk?
Yep.
Don't take the Klitschko fight. Just don't do it. I'm going to be Al Heyman for a second, right? Just don't take the Klitschko fight. Just don't do it. You could lose. And even if you win, every fan in the UK is going to say, well, AJ stopped him and Fury stopped him and he's only fought twice in the last 4 years. So that's what's going to happen. Just like the American fans have like discredited AJ because he had lost to Fury. That's what will happen. Right? Fair enough?
Yeah, I agree. I agree on that. Yeah.
Usyk, we don't know what he's got at heavyweight. Dillian Whyte, good rivalry fight. If that's an option, take it. I'd take the Dillian Whyte fight before I take Usyk, because Usyk could go in there and just school Wilder. He really could. Wilder could knock his ass out. But I think Dillian Whyte's more picturesque perfect because he kind of comes forward. I don't think he's a better jabber than Wilder. And I can see I'd make Wilder a bit of a heavy favourite there. So, yeah, 50 million, 2 fights. One of them's Dominic Breazeale. Whew, this market's gone crazy. It's gone absolutely tits to the wall. What else is there to talk about?
Obviously the fights this weekend: Spence Garcia, Farmer Carroll.
Oh yeah, can I just get everybody to give Matt a round of applause, because earlier he sacrificed his entire soul and everything he was to try and stay professional, talking about this fight as something that was competitive. So I think he deserves a round of applause for that. Obviously, a difficult thing if you're thinking with your head to really give Mikey much of a chance. I do give him a slight chance, but on paper, on everything, Spence is just a little bit bigger, or a lot bigger, a lot stronger. He's actually got boxing fundamentals. He has got decent feet. He's got decent timing, and he's a come forward body puncher with legit knockout power in his weight division, and he's a massive welterweight. Mikey looked fat and out of his depth against Lipinets. Lipinets would get destroyed by the Errol Spence. And that's just the truth. Because Lamont Peterson would give Lipinets a tough fight. Algieri would too. I mean, realistically, they could have made this. They could have done Errol Spence versus Mikey Garcia and Amir Khan on the same night. They possibly could have done
that. I don't disagree.
That's a better pay-per-view than Crawford Khan.
Yeah, that's a fantastic pay-per-view. I'd buy that.
One handicap match.
The most important thing about any of these fights that are taking place this weekend is my guy, the gorgeous villain, is in action. Charles Martin. He walks the world like a god, and he's going to go in there and he's going to stunt all over Corbin. Because he's the greatest fighter of all time.
Facts.
Obviously.
Facts.
It's
all
just
facts.
Pure facts. I mean, at the end of the day, if it wasn't for Charles Martin, Anthony Joshua wouldn't be a star. Fact. Charles Martin went in there and he said, you know what, buddy? I walk this world like a god, and God's going to answer your prayers. And that's exactly what happened. He answered his prayers. He let him win, because sometimes you need a chance from God. And he gave him that chance. Joshua's a star. All thanks to Charles Martin taking a knee. So,
and
all praise the Lord, the Savior, the gorgeous villain, Charles Martin. Oh. Now, that's an okay fight, though. What else is there to talk about?
WBO have ordered Kovalev yard.
Whyte Povetkin.
That's not happening.
That's two instant reactions.
If Yard takes that fight, I'll piss myself with laughter, and I'll support it. I will support it. That's the honest truth. At the end of the day, you need to support the prospect stepping up. As everybody's saying, Anthony Yard, he needs to fight at world level already. I mean, he's had 18 fights. Wait, what? But whatever. Let him have it. Like, only 4 fights ago, he's fighting that Southern Area title. If he doesn't fight fucking Kovalev, apparently he's a ducker. I don't know. But if he fights Kovalev, fair play to him. If he doesn't, it's expected.
I agree.
What was the other thing you said there?
Whyte Povetkin.
Whyte Povetkin, fantastic interim fight. Fantastic interim fight. If that were to take place, I'd be all over that. That's maybe the number 4 or 5 heavyweight versus number 6, 7 heavyweight.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that. I wonder who gets popped for drugs first.
Who's your money on?
Dillian? Are we talking for drugs, or are we talking to win the fight?
I meant to take drugs.
Yeah, that's what I said.
To take drugs, I don't know. Povetkin's been popped twice. Dillian's been popped once. So you'd have to go with the laws of averages and go with Povetkin.
Yeah, if you go by BoxRec popping rankings, obviously
Povetkin, pound for pound, man. He's number
two for
one,
one.
number two, man.
But yeah, in terms of the fight, I'd probably say White. I just think Povetkin, he's a little old and he's starting to fade and he's getting a bit tired in these fights. And I think Dillian might be a little bit just too tough. But you never know. Povetkin could knock his ass out. He's a great fighter.
Yeah. I mean, I think the blueprint's out on Povetkin now. Survive that early onslaught. You know, the jumping, lunging left hooks and things like that. And
ship blueprint. Survive the early onslaught.
You know what I mean? He comes with a bit of heat early on, doesn't he? He comes with jumping in with those left hooks and things like that. But
yeah, I mean that's definitely the the blueprint. You know, in top 15 opposition fights, Alexander Povetkin, in terms of his victories against top 15 opponents, over 70% of them come after the 9th round.
All right, I'm just saying now he's getting old. He's not looking so hot in those.
Well, Rob, it's okay. He's not disagreeing with you, Rob. He's adding.
No.
He's literally adding to your point. He's saying yes, when Povetkin fights top level competition, they finish him late. They survive that early rounds. Yep.
Yeah, sort of 7, 8, 9. He started to look, like
he's an old man.
It's all caught up with him.
But also, if he does get to the 8th and 9th round, you can't beat him. But once he gets into the 10th round, he comes on strong, 10, 11, and 12. Always has done, like Shagoyev and Marco Huck. But that's gone back a while. So, and Mike Perez. But other than that, what else is there? We've got the amazing Humberto Soto against Jesse Vargas.
Great fight.
Yeah, I'm all for that fight.
Fantastic.
Let's go. Let's see a guy who's not good enough fight a guy who's not good enough.
I'll say this, and I'll go on a ledge, but I can safely say this. It should be DAZN's first pay-per-view. Like, it's that good of a fight, that good of a potential main event. Just have that be pay-per-view on DAZN, and I think that's really how you drive the subscribers.
ESPN should make a pay-per-view. You need something to do lower numbers than Postall Crawford.
No pay-per-views on DAZN. The mantra. Come on, Matt. You know this.
It's okay. Don't be triggered. Just a joke.
I think it's a massive subscriber builder. So
anyway, there's the card that's been announced as well. Hasn't there been a card announced in the UK?
The Chisora card.
Chisora Gashi.
Yes. Derek Chisora against Senat Gashi, and Dave Allen versus Lucas Brown.
Yep.
And Josh Kelly against a crap Polish prospect who I've seen fight and get floored 4 times, even though he's managed to win his fights, and 2 of them were very controversial. Let's just say this. I officially unsubscribed from Sky Sports the moment that was announced. The reason why is I'm a boxing fan, and I am not willing to pay €45 per month to have Senat Gashi headline the fucking O2.
Actually, it's going to be Dave Allen, Lucas Brown. That's what.
No, Chisora's the main event.
They're potentially changing that.
Okay, sorry.
Just to get your €45 back.
Let me rephrase that. A kebab versus a junkie, and a 40-year-old man versus a guy who can't control his temper, and it's absolute garbage. It truly is. It's pure garbage, and that's what you're getting for your money. I mean, at the end of the day, I hear Americans complaining about fucking Garcia Spence for $75. I got Jordan Gill as a main event, yeah? And I got Dave Allen as a main event, and that's €90, £80, $100. That's what I've got. Our subscription fees combined, including our pay-per-views last year, cost me €700 or £635 or $810. In America, if that was true, that was
90
through Sky Sports,
seconds.
right? That was through Sky Sports. Through Showtime last year, American customers altogether spent $402, and you got a better product. So that breaks my heart. And this year, all of the English product is going over to America. Great.
Yep.
Fantastic days. So, long story short is, Wilder, take your money and run. That's what you should do. As a fan, I want undisputed.
60 seconds.
So, let's just end it at that, will we? It's all a lot of bollocks. That's just what's happened right now.
We're
getting no competitive fights. I mean, the most competitive fight that we've actually probably talked about there out of everything is probably Charles Martin and Corbin. That's sad.
Yep, I largely agree. Thank you for the call. Unrivaled Box Talking News. Rob?
Yes?
You know, I feel like we've had like a lot of shows just like negative stuff, man. Like we need one. Us boxing fans, we need a big fight. We haven't had a big fight all year.
10 seconds.
Relax. Blog Talk gets so angry sometimes. Obviously it's March. It's still very early in the year. But the biggest fight so far this year has been what? Pacquiao-Broner? Is that really the biggest fight of the year so far? I'm asking. It's not a rhetorical question. I'm actually asking you, Rob. Like, is that the biggest fight this year so far?
No. Right. Done the most pay-per-view buys. I don't know about. Is it the biggest fight though?
I'm not saying it's the best. I'm saying like the biggest, like the one that had the most eyeballs on it, the one that had the biggest sort of imprint on the sports industry this year thus far. Probably Pacquiao-Broner, and that's really fucking pathetic. But but against March, so hopefully this isn't an issue in a few months. And again, we have Joshua Miller coming up. I think that's a fantastic fight. April and May looks like it's some pretty good months in terms of boxing content. Plus, we're getting hopefully a Wilder DAZN move, and we get a step closer to an AJ Wilder fight. I think that will appease a lot of us if we sort of know that that's on the horizon. Because right now, look at all the big fights we have, like that we want to see: Spence Crawford, Joshua Wilder. That's probably the two biggest ones of note. Maybe like a Canelo Charlo, but that's not it. Let's be honest. Those two fights, there's not a set path at this point to make those fights. And I think that is why I think a lot of boxing fans are feeling like fatigued. It's a lot of mediocre content week after week. Tons of events. We have to watch 30+ fights if you're a hardcore. None of them are competitive. That's an issue. But hopefully we get some light at the end of the tunnel with this DAZN news with Wilder, and this negotiations, this process does come to fruition. It does come to a head where we get AJ Wilder, and there is a direct path on paper to that. I think fans will be ecstatic for that sort of being able to take a breath. Like, we actually get a big fight. We know it's coming. Right now, that's not there. Digressing from that point, I'm Matt the Hipster Hunter. You can obviously find me at Matt Hunter, MCR, all platforms. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. Hit the like button, share the show, subscribe on your way out. And if you're listening on podcast form, drop that 5-star review on iTunes. Head over to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to get hours and hours of extra content. Rob, your final thoughts, and where can people find you?
You can find me Instagram and Twitter at UKRobMCR. Final thoughts? Yeah, I guess we have to wait. What did I say? It was Tuesday, next Tuesday?
Yes.
For this Bomb Squad Promotions announcement for his next fight, the Breazeale. So where will you guys in the States be watching that one? Will you be watching it on Showtime? Will you be watching it on DAZN?
Pay-per-view. Showtime pay-per-view, man.
Oh, yeah, my bad. Sorry. Yeah, look forward to that one, America. It's not like you haven't had one every month so far. Why not have another one? But yeah, fingers crossed it's DAZN, right? Because that's the clearest path to the Joshua fight, because that's where Joshua's likely to be. But yeah, Tevin Farmer weekend, another DAZN card this weekend. I think DAZN's content is picking up. I think is gaining a little bit of momentum, but Showtime's, there's a question mark over it. So at the minute, if you're going to say someone's winning and someone isn't, I don't know. But, we'll have to wait and see what Showtime announced later on in the year. But at the minute, I don't know. Stephen Espinoza may be a little bit I don't know. Maybe he wants to stay off Twitter for a little bit, just until something big gets announced. But maybe on Tuesday, Stephen Espinoza will be the guy out on Twitter, you know. But yeah, thanks for everybody tuning in. Hit that thumbs up, share the show.
Very quick, let's pray. Let's pray. I like Stephen, but let's pray that that's not the case on Tuesday. Like, hey, Stephen comes out there, Showtime pay-per-view, Wilder Breazeale. I will be fucking livid. You have no idea.
To all you people saying DAZN have beat me, $100 pay-per-view. whoa, Stephen. Oh, sorry, it's not $100. It's $99.
Poor Stephen. Replying to parody accounts.
Yeah,
shit happens.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I definitely had underrated tweet reply to that, but it's all good.
No one cares.
But yeah, share the show, thumbs up, 5-star review on iTunes, all that good stuff. Tell people we're here. Hopefully more shows, plenty more to come. And yeah, catch you on the next one.
Peace.
Everybody's on steroids. The whole UFC, everybody.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Hey, pussy, are you still